Good morning, scholars. Happy Friday. Today we are going to be talking about fins and gills. So you guessed it, we're talking about fish. By the end of today, you will turn in Friday, October 9th, ELA. We will start today with our spelling test. Then we'll read chapter 5. I'll read aloud chapter 6. And then we will have a brief parts of speech activity. At this point, I want you to navigate to your assignment for today and click into your spelling test. When you get on your spelling test, you're just going to hit play on the video. This is a video where I will read the spelling words to you, so you need to listen to it. You don't have to see it while you're answering each one, so as you scroll, you will still be able to hear it even though you can't see it. Type the word that you hear in the corresponding blank, so I'll always say the number. And then at the end, before you hit submit, after you finish number 12, I'm going to read the words one more time. I want you to scroll back to the top and check your work. So pause here, and I'll see you when you're done. Good luck. Do your best. If you're not done with your spelling test at this point, just pause. We're going to go over some vocabulary words that you will need for our chapter today. Aquatic. Say it. Aquatic. And that's living, growing, or found in water. Gill. Say it. Gill. And that's one of a pair of organs fish use to breathe underwater. Scales. Say it. Scales. And those are thick, small discs on the outside of the bodies of some animals, such as fish and reptiles. With that, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to hand it over to Rattenborough.
Chapter 5. Fish. Rattenborough here again. You have learned that scientists study the characteristics of animals. They do this to divide the animal kingdom into different groups, such as mammals and reptiles. Today, you are going to learn about another group of animals within the animal kingdom, fish. Fish are aquatic animals, meaning that they spend their lives underwater. Most fish are cold-blooded. Their body temperature changes with the temperature of the water. Fish are also vertebrates. In fact, they are the largest group of animals on Earth that are vertebrates. Earth is covered mostly by water, so it makes sense that fish are the most common vertebrates. There are many different types and sizes of fish. Fish lay eggs underwater. They also eat and sleep underwater. Fish do not sleep in the same way mammals sleep. Fish can't close their eyes because they don't have eyelids. When they sleep, they float around or find a place to hide while they rest. Like other animals, fish need to breathe oxygen. But fish do not have lungs like people, and they do not breathe oxygen from the air. Instead, they have gills just behind their heads. Fish gills take oxygen out of the water so that fish can breathe. But gills do not work well outside water. They cannot take oxygen out of the air. A fish will die quickly, within several minutes, if it is removed from water. Fish have scales that cover their skin. Scales are rounded and smooth, and there is usually an inner and outer layer. The scales protect the skin and help fish move easily through the water. Fish also use the different fins on their body and their tails to swim. They are able to glide through the water, rapidly changing direction by using their fins and tail. Most fish live in salt water because most water on Earth is salty. Tropical fish that live in the warm ocean are very colorful. They look as if an artist painted interesting patterns on their bodies. Many fish also live in fresh water, including streams, rivers, lakes, and ponds. Some fish travel in groups called schools. One type of fish that travels in schools is salmon. Salmon live in both saltwater and freshwater. Some types of salmon are born in freshwater streams and rivers. After about a year, they make their way to the ocean, where they live for 1 to 5 years. Then, they migrate back to the exact same stream where they were born. They lay eggs, and the life cycle begins again. Salmon don't use a map to help them find their way back home. Most scientists think they use their strong sense of smell to find their way. They swim upstream, against the river's current, sometimes swimming hundreds of miles. They leap over waterfalls and rocks to get to the same stream where they were born. They go through all this hard work to reach their home to lay their eggs. Hopefully along the way, a grizzly bear or fisherman won't catch them first. It just so happens that salmon are among the tastiest of all fish.
Alright, so let's pause on this slide. Are fish vertebrates or invertebrates? They are vertebrates. They're one of the 5 groups of vertebrates. How do fish breathe? They collect oxygen from the water using their gills. So at this point, I want you to go ahead and get out a piece of paper. On that piece of paper, I want you to draw a circle in the middle that says fish, like mine, and about 6 lines coming off of it. During the read aloud that I'm about to do, I want you to take some notes on the characteristics of fish. So I'll help you with several of these, but I do want you to be listening to see if there's one that you hear on your own. So let's get started. If you need more time to draw your diagram, just pause. I'll be here when you get back. So far, you've learned that scientists classify living things by common characteristics in order to study them and show relationships. You have learned about cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals. This is Paolo, the piranha. Who remembers if Paolo is cold-blooded or warm-blooded? And what does that mean? Right. Paolo's internal body temperature varies with his surroundings. When Paolo is swimming in warm water, his body temperature is higher than when he is swimming in cold water. That means he's cold-blooded. Some animals have backbones. What's another word for an animal with a backbone? Yes, animals with backbones are called vertebrates, and those without backbones are called invertebrates. Paolo is one of many kinds of animals capable of swimming. Having a strong backbone is one type of body design that helps Paolo and other fish to be good swimmers. You've also learned a little bit about taxonomy, the science of classification. Fish are members of the Animalia, or animal kingdom, just like you and me, but they belong to different animal groups. Today, I'm going to teach you a little bit more about animals that are classified as fish. So, to say that in 3 words, fish are aquatic. They don't live on land. They live in water. All species of fish are aquatic. So we have our first note. On your chart, next to one of the lines, write, fish are aquatic. This just means they live in water. Fish are aquatic. If you need more time, pause, but I'm going to go ahead and go on. Fish are also vertebrates. We got this from this passage as well. That means they have a backbone. They are one of 5 animal groups that are vertebrates. Make sure you have both of these notes down on your chart. Fish are aquatic and fish are vertebrates. Fish make up the largest group of vertebrates on Earth. Let's take a look at my picture that shows a view of planet Earth from space. There is a lot more water than land. Nearly 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Fish are swimming about in the Earth's waters, from ponds and streams to rivers, lakes, and oceans. It's no wonder that fish make up the largest group of vertebrates on Earth. Think about how you swim, with your arms and legs, of course. Take a close look at the fish. Do you see any arms and legs? Nope. So what helps a fish move through the water? Yes, a fish has fins, all kinds of fins. It has fins on the sides of its body for steering, fins at the back for powerful speed, and fins at the top and bottom to help keep balance. Fish couldn't begin to move without those wonderfully flat fins and their flexible tails. Have you ever worn flippers? Flippers are designed to be like fishtails to help people move more quickly through the water. This is an example of something you're going to study in science this year called biomimicry engineering. It's an example of where engineers look at something in nature and try to make a design based on it. So in this case, the design they made were flippers that mimicked fish fins because they help you move in the water. So now let's go ahead and write down fins help fish swim. Fins help fish swim. Look closely at this fish and see if you can spot its breathing machine. The respiratory or breathing organs of a fish are called gills. All fish have gills. They take water in through their mouths, and the water passes over their gills. The gills take in oxygen from the water, allowing them to breathe. So now we can write fish have gills, and you could even say gills help them breathe. Fish have gills. Well, everybody, you've spotted the gills and fins of fish, but what about the rest of the fish's body? What about the skin? Hey, look at me, there I am, taking a close look at the fish skin through a magnifying glass. Fish skin is very different from your skin. Fish have scaly skin to help protect them and help them move more easily through the water. These hard overlapping scales are rounded and smooth, and fish have more than one layer of skin, just like you. So now we can write scales help fish protect their body. I also want you to think of one more characteristic of fish on this chart. So write scales help fish protect their body, and then come up with one more example of your own. Pause on this screen if you need to. Before we wrap up today, we are going to do a quick review of parts of speech. So we've talked about 3 parts of speech: nouns, verbs, and adjectives. Nouns name the people, places, or things in a sentence, whether they are common and not capitalized, or proper and capitalized. Verbs show the action, so what is happening, and adjectives are descriptive words that describe the nouns. So in this sentence, my black cat jumped on the couch. What are the nouns? Cat and couch. What words are verbs? What's the action? Jumped. And what words are adjectives, so describing the nouns? There's just one today, black, the black cat. And that's it today. Make sure that you have turned in your spelling test, both submitted on Google Forms and go back to Google Classroom and hit turn in. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help. But other than that, have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.